what it takes to become a successful real estate agent in your first year in the business. Why is that so important?
That is very important. One, for a million different reasons. For us, when we're bringing in agents on our team, we're very honest with them, even in the interview process of saying, listen, 90% of realtors fail. Now, are those numbers skewed because of our team? Yeah, people on our team usually have a little better success, obviously better than 90%. But for the most part, that is not true. And so what we've been doing with all these podcasts, we're opening up the playbook and telling people, this is what you should do. This is what you can do. You have control over these things so that you are a success and that you make some money. That's the whole goal, to make a little cash.
Yeah, so the issue with most new agents is they either, one, have another job that they're working because they can't go full-time real estate right away. They need the money. So that automatically creates an issue because now they're not necessarily giving it their all. But then the flip side to that is if they did quit their job and they are giving it their all. I mean, it took me 7 months, to be fair, to really get traction. Sometimes I've talked to these new agents and they're like, well, I did 43 deals my first year. And I think, I don't know what you did, but that's amazing.
I'm very impressed.
When I hear people did that, I don't know whether their sphere was just awesome or...
They had a sphere of people that were just like, if only we knew a realtor. I have so much money and I want to spend, but
but that's just not the norm, right?
Yeah.
The average realtor is going to sell, 5 houses a year as it is. And then when you're new in real estate, we had data on how much part-time agents make and full-time agents make. And I had found that chart that showed like first year in the business, like 2 years and first year in the business was like less than 20,000 on average, right?
Sheesh.
And then you have all of your expenses, your broker fees, everything else. So pretty much you make no money. So we thought this would be a really good podcast because if you're starting, whether you have a job or you don't have a job now, you probably need to make money because you either want to quit the job you're in to do this full time or you're already doing it full time and you're thinking, holy crap, do I give up and go back to my other job? Don't give up.
So one of the things that I put down 3 different bullet points. The first one is people fail to properly prospect for business.
Yes.
I see that so often, and it's because we have a number in our mind that we tell all of our agents, how much time should you be spending in growing your business, new business, every day?
3 hours.
Why 3 hours?
3 hours is the minimal amount of time that you're going to need to pretty much contact enough people and get enough people into your sphere, into your pipeline, so that it actually starts to convert into sales. Because what we notice with almost every single agent, whether they're a solo agent, whether they are on the team, most team agents, the first thing is just, what do I even do? Right? When you're a brand new agent, they're like, what do I? Yeah, because they think I'm going to get the license and then people are going to start reaching out to me and I'll start, hopefully prospecting and doing realtor things. Or like new agents, we had a new agent just come on last week and they're like, please teach me how to write a contract. And, I let her sit through a contract writing, but I told her, I was like, this is totally pointless right this second.
Yeah.
We got to get you clients, right? If you never get a client, it doesn't matter how good at writing a contract you are.
I'm the best.
Yeah, exactly. I know all of the lines in the contract by heart. That's great. But we need to get you clients. So how do you do that? Well, you prospect. So whether that's 3 hours of phone calls, whether that's 3 hours a day of your networking with people, you're setting up meetings with people, whether that's open houses on the weekends, whether it's follow-up, you need at least 3 hours.
And I always think it's new business too, right? And a lot of times people, as you mentioned, they've got a sphere that really works for them, but I'm like, that will run out eventually, or you've got to add to that sphere.
Well,
so it's like
you
you've
really
got to
don't
tackle it.
You don't have a referral sphere at first because you've never sold a house. So, once you're in this business for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, right? Hopefully what's happening is all of your past clients are coming back to you to sell, to rebuy. They're giving you their referrals.
Cousins.
But up front, that's not the case. Even if it's your family and they know you, you still haven't sold your family a house yet if you're brand new. So they may refer you, they may not. So you are literally building your sphere. You've got your sphere of influence, which is obviously the people around you that you know. So you should be spending 3 hours to get to those people. But then you're also building that sphere of outside people you don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's a numbers game, right? So that's one thing as a new agent you need to figure out immediately, right? You need to figure out how many calls do you have to make to get a hold of X amount of people, right? So you figure, how many people do I need to talk to before I lock one down? Is it 10? Okay, so if I need to talk to 10 people before I get a good one, how many calls do I have to make to get 10 people on the phone?
10 people on the phone.
Is it 100? Okay, so if I want to get one good person on the phone every day, I need to make 100 calls, right? That's at least, you think 3 hours worth of calls? It's going to take you 2 days really to get one good one on the hook based on those numbers. So if you were to do that every day, Monday through Friday, out of that 3 hours, you're really only going to get 2 to 3 people max that are probably potential buyers at that point. And then what's their timetable? Are they a year out? Are they 6 months out? Are they 30, 90 days out? So that's why it's so crucial, right? Because if you don't do that, then you float your first couple months not prospecting, not building the pipeline. And then what do? 3 months goes by and you're like, I don't have, any clients.
I put down 2 notes as you were talking, because there's one thing that I feel like a lot of people have to realize, especially when it's just like we're talking about new business, but also your sphere. You have to look at your sphere as the business, right? So like you just like putting the word out casually or just making a post, that's not the same, right? You've got to approach these spheres like you've got to call them. You've got to text them. You've got to put them in your CRM, because without doing that, you're just like, oh man, Uncle Joe, he's definitely going to list his house on me. And then, next thing you know, he's got it with someone else. And you're like, what happened? I'm like, well, did you call him? Did you text him? Did you show him the value? Right. So, I mean, that's going to be something that you need to have that's going to track all of your leads, all of your leads, due dates, all of those things. That's going to be helpful.
I would say
client retention management.
I would say most realtors do not use a CRM though.
Which is dangerous.
Oh, it's terrible. I mean, what are you gonna? You have a notepad? Or are you gonna just have a notebook of people and then you're gonna change it every day?
I wrote them all in my hand.
I mean, it doesn't work. So you've got to be organized, right? You've got to have your prospecting time. Now that leads me. I don't want to get out of your order.
Okay.
But thinking about prospecting, if you're a new agent, you're probably saying this because we get almost every agent we interview says, "I want to leave and come to your team because I'm not getting any." Leads, right? So you're probably saying, so if I'm going to make 50 to 100 calls a day, who the heck am I calling? I can't just call my family and friends every day. And you're right, that would be weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Use social media and stuff like that, which we'll get into that too, to get to your actual friends, family sphere.
Yeah.
But you actually need leads. So as a new agent, right? Leads can be very expensive.
Yep.
Correct? Like if you go to Zillow, that's where everybody thinks first as a new agent. Can't be that bad. And they call and they realize it's $400, $500 per number. And then they say, well, I can't afford one number. Right? I don't have that big of a budget for a month. And then you realize that now Zillow's doing things like Zillow Flex where people are just paying a referral fee. And you're like, well, that sounds cool. But then you realize that to be on Zillow Flex, you need to be a mega team already that's just selling a ton, because they're not going to give it to a new agent, right? We're not going to give these.
You've got to already given them money.
So, Galen, what do you think are some of the best lead generation options out there for new agents? Again, they probably don't have a budget. Maybe they're not on a team, but if they're solo agent, where do you think they could be picking up leads?
So this does not go out of line, because this is definitely in line, but I think one of the easiest ways and one of the ways that I capitalize on is open houses.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like that does not cost you anything but time.
Yeah.
You can get into your MLS. You can go to your brokerage number. You can just reach out to any agent really and just say, hey, listen, I see that you're a big dog.
Yeah.
I see that you're productive. I see that you are just doing what I want to do. I see you got this house that's listed. Is anyone doing an open house? I'm willing to do the open house. I'll do it for whatever time your client allows.
Yep.
I'm going to show up early. I'm going to put the signs out. I'm going to follow up on all of that. A lot of times, a lot of these agents who are in the business, they're successful, and we'll talk about this another podcast about time blocking. They don't have time to do that thing because they're doing so many other things, because they too are putting in 3 hours of prospecting new business. So there are a lot of times they're like, yeah, sure, please do the open house. To me, that is one of the big ones that you can do that's free o'clock.
Yeah. So when you think about open houses, this is when having a good brokerage to be at helps.
For sure.
Because if you're a solo agent, you're probably also saying to yourself, I don't have a listing to do an open house on. If I did, I would live in it. I would tell the owners to get out and I'll just live here and it'll be open 24/7 for people to come in, right?
Come all.
So as a new agent, you want to have a brokerage.
Treasure trove.
Yeah. I mean, because you can, if you want to farm your neighborhood, or you want to farm a zip code, or you want to be like, I want to own this area, this part of the city, this price point, right? You can be selective. You may say, hey, you know what? I don't want to sell houses under $300,000. So I'm just going to run opens on $500,000 plus houses. Whatever floats your boat. You can now go into your MLS, look at active listings in that price point, call the agent because they're in your brokerage, and you just say, hey, like you said, you're probably way too busy to run this open house. Would your sellers mind if I ran an open house this weekend?
Yeah.
And if you were to do that and you have the CRM that Galen's talking about, and you're actually putting these people into the CRM, then now come Monday, guess what you do? Well, now you're 3 hours of call prospecting. You can call all those people that came to the open house yesterday, and that's how you start building.
And a little bit about calls, because I think sometimes people say like, oh, I don't have enough leads, or I can't call them, but it's like, hey, listen, if you call,
flip this table over.
I know, it's like, hey, if on Monday you call someone and they don't answer, what should you do Tuesday?
Call them again.
Call them back. But who else are you calling that Tuesday? The new other prospecting. This is like a
snowball.
It's a snowball. It's very circular. So you got to keep calling back these people plus the new ones. So by the end of the week, you should just be inundated. It should be like, maybe I'll take this 3 hours and change it to 4 hours, because you should be calling all these people back, leaving voicemails, sending text messages, email. You want that person to be like, I know for a shadow of a doubt that Jared and Galen want my business because he's called me 7 times.
Yeah.
He's sent me 5 emails, 4 text messages, a love letter, some pies. He took my dog for a walk. We're doing all the things.
That's one of our agents. So when you're thinking about open house registrations and things like that too, as a team leader, one of the things that we have to think about is how many leads are we giving to our buyer's agents. And so a good rule of thumb is like 1 a day. If you can get 1 lead a day as a buyer's agent, that's a pretty good return. And you may be on a team right this second, you're listening, and you're like, dang, I'm not getting a lead a day.
Like 1 a day?
I'm not even getting like 1 a month, right? That is a lot of teams, but they're doing it wrong, right? And then you may also be on a team where you're like, I'm getting like 150 a month. I can barely handle it. Great, fantastic, right? But 1 a day, right? So to Galen's point, if you were to get 1 lead a day from your team, or again, you were going to go create it. So you were doing it through either your own IDX websites that you create, maybe your brokerage has ones that you can use, maybe you're on a team and they have one you can use, whatever. That's 30 a month. If you're going to do an open house every weekend, let's say you just average 5 people in each open house. And I think that's a low average in this market, to be honest. So 5. That's going to be another 20 to 25 people a month, which is going to give you 50 to 55 leads a month if you were to just be producing 1 cheap internet lead a day and doing an open house each weekend. So you think from a time perspective, let's say only 5% of those are convertible. That's a pretty low number, right? 5%. I'd say that's probably about accurate.
It's going to take work. I mean, you started a business. I mean, I know it's the first year, but I mean, think about how any other industry, if you started like a paint business, it's like, what are you going to spend all your time doing? Looking for business, providing service, providing quotes. So like, well, there's no different here when it comes to real estate. It's all about how are you going to do that. Kind of moves us into like the second portion or the third portion of that, do you have a clear business plan for direction when it comes to like following up on your prospects and business? Like, what is your goal? What are you going to do to get to that goal? If you need help figuring that out, by all means, reach out to us. But that is going to be a crucial way to say, like, how do I build this behemoth of a brand, or how do I contribute to the brand? Because there's people that are on our team that they just want to contribute to what we do, and they're compensated for it.
Yeah, and one thing you'll run into too is that as you start selling a couple houses a month, you start to get to the point you're like, okay, I'm getting busier. I've got home inspections now. I've got clients that I'm taking on showings. I'm writing paperwork. I'm going to closings. And then if you don't have that business plan in action, typically what happens is you get busy on all the stuff that's not prospecting, and then you stop prospecting. So you make all this money in a month, and then all of a sudden you're broke for the next 3 months while you try to prospect more. I always think as a new agent, you're starving for clients, for leads, for money, for all of these things. But you have it so easy. At some point in your career, if you really take off, you could have 10, 15, 20, 30 deals pending under contract at any given time. Have fun trying to build prospecting time in at that point, right?
Day,
It's almost impossible. So I watch so many real estate agents come into the business and waste so much valuable time that I could use for so many other things that would be valuable. I realize how crucial it is. And so I watch these new agents, and it's like, did you make 3 hours of calls yesterday? Well, no, I was going to do it today. And I'm like, you should do it today too. You should have done it yesterday.
In addition to
today and tomorrow and the next day. And then when you're at the open house, you should also be making calls. And then, all of these things.
We want to help people build something. We want them to be the best agent they can be. But why you're not as successful, or why or how you can make money in the first year, one of the reasons people they fail to market properties and themselves to lead to fast sales.
Yep. So one thing that everyone should keep in mind is that every single listing you get should lead you to a buyer. Right. So even if, and listings are tougher to get, I do agree that most leads are going to be buyer based, but the whole thing is a lot of buyers also have stuff to sell,
or they will.
You're talking to your sphere. So think about it. If you could just get 1 listing a month, just one, a 12 a year,
you'd be very fortunate.
You would be, that'd be great first year, but let's just say that's your goal and your business plan that you wrote out because you're smart. You're listening to this and you're saying, okay, I want to do 24 deals my first year, one buy, one sell, 50-50, right? You should really be focusing on those listings because you know that for every listing you get, you should be able to turn it into a buyer.
Yep.
How so?
A lot of people, when they have the meal on your plate, they forget about what's in the cupboards. And what that means is that when you've got the thing, you forget about everything else. Now, if you've got a listing in front of you, that will translate to so much more business if you use it correctly, right? You can just put it on the MLS, close your eyes.
Post and pray.
Yeah, get that offer in, then you're one and done, right?
The average realtor's marketing plan. Post and pray. That's what we're doing.
Like, that
I hope
makes
it
me
sells.
cringe. Like, what? That's one of the different things when people list their house with us is that they see this full court press that we put on. So you're going to see open house leads come in. Why? Because we're generally almost always doing an open house. Yeah. So you've got open house that you can generate leads from.
Yep.
What about the neighbors? Are they looking to sell? Well, then you've got market analysis leads. You can always say like, hey, this house is selling for this or sold for this. How much is your house worth, right?
Yeah, this is where I see a lot of agents fail because they either don't know they can do this, they don't think about doing this, or they don't want to go out and do this. But if you're a new agent, you obviously have time. So when you go to put the signs out on Friday or Saturday for the open house, go knock on all the doors in the neighborhood. Because again, depending on your market, there are definitely certain neighborhoods in our market and definitely yours where there's so much word of mouth, where it's such a hot area or neighborhood where people are like, oh, I've got friends, they all want to be in this neighborhood, this school district, this whatever. Like, we just call our friends and they're going to be so excited. So just that, right? You just talk to them, say, hey, feel free to stop by, whatever, right? Then once it sells, if you've gotten their contact information or you're running back, if you can find another way to get a hold of them or talk to them, then it's, hey, we had 12 contracts, but only one person
Only one
won.
winner.
That means there's 11 people that are still looking to buy a house in this neighborhood right now. Are you interested in selling?
Yeah.
Have you thought about selling? Do you know anybody else in the neighborhood that you think may be selling? Because I'd love to try to put together a deal.
Is your fraternity brother, your sorority sister, would they like to live in this neighborhood? I mean, that's just...
And the thing is it going to work every time? No.
When people say like, oh, only the neighbors showed up at the open house, I hear a lot of agents say that, oh, there was no new, just the neighbors. I'm like, are you kidding me? Those are listings.
You got like multiple deals, right?
Yes, exactly. I love when the neighbors come. And I'm like, we sat down, we talked, his buddy came in, helped sell that, bought another one. I'm like, anything you can do. So like when your neighbors come in, just remember that like that's an opportunity. So sell yourself on them.
So hold on, let's go social media for a second because the marketing is so crucial. We talked about how to market your listings. We talked about open houses. We talked about calling leads. But I mean, social media has changed the world. And we spend so much time just wasted on social media every day, right? Looking at mindless pictures.
I'm doing it right now.
On the podcast, looking at mindless things, right? Doing just pointless. You probably post stupid stuff that's also pointless. No offense to your influencers out there listening.
I love seeing what you
whatever your travel pictures, the pictures of your kids, the picture of your food. Like, no, look, it makes you no money. I'm sure your friends want to see it, and I'm not saying you shouldn't mix the personal stuff into the real estate. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is take a little sliver of that time that you're wasting looking at Instagram and looking at Facebook and posting stuff that's not money making, and post something that is money making. Right? Whether it's listings that you have coming up, whether it's showings just to show your sphere that you're actually out there doing something, that you're working, that you have business, whether it's team meetings, whether it's whatever, it doesn't matter. You dropping client gifts to people, whatever it is, just put it out there, right? 30 years ago, you had nothing. If your grandpa opened a storefront, all he could do was put a sign outside.
Hope someone tells him.
That says open, and he hopes someone drives by and sees it and walks inside. That was it. Is that not insane to any... Is that not insane?
Well, you know, it's really funny. It's like, so people like look at social media, they're like, oh, I don't want to do that. Well, when your grandpa put that sign up, there's probably someone else who's like, he's putting a sign out front.
What a waste of money.
How ostentatious is
this?
What
a waste of money that is.
Like, grandpa is now Walmart, right? So,
but think about this. We went from grandpa not being able to do anything to then the next generation being able to buy print advertising.
In the newspaper.
You know, you just started maybe seeing internet banners and stuff, but social media wasn't a thing. And now there's so many social media platforms. We have effectively given anybody the ability to become famous for any skill. for any skill.
Or lack of skill.
Or lack of skill, correct, right? So it doesn't matter what you do. You could be an artist, a real estate agent, like whatever field you're in, social media can change the entire game and world for you if you just do it properly, or just do it, right? My crappy podcast, whatever, is better than your non-existent one, right? So hopefully you're listening to this and you're like, no, I think it's a very valuable podcast. Fantastic. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
But if someone listening in, they're like, it wasn't my thing. Great. Well, hopefully it's somebody else's
What's yours
thing.
like?
What's your thing? Yeah. Oh, you don't have one? That's you understand? It's so crucial because it's free to do. Galen is the master at social media. 100%. He's on it 24/7. I always know what he's doing. I'm in his social media more than I'm in my social media.
How do you know what to post? I'm like, approach everything you do like a business. Like, I've got a written out thing of what I'm going to post. There's scripts for things. Like, I write the scripts out. I don't just like get up there and be like, here's a camera, let me just start saying stuff. You've got to give it some thought. It's like, I don't just like wake up and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna take a selfie. I'm like, there's a reason for everything I do. There should be a reason for everything. Social media is a tool. And if you operate any tool without skill, you're probably going to hurt yourself. So very last, just want to remind everyone, following up with clients, that is going to be huge. If you're not doing that, you're not going to be successful in your business. And if you're new, I mean, every lead, you don't even have time to think about like cold, warm, hot leads. It's like all of them. Call all of them like they are nuclear. You got to follow up with them, call back on them, remind them, send texts, emails after you close. You know, I like to do the soft referral. I don't ever send and be like, hey, can I have your referral? But I want to be in front of mine. I want to provide them with such high caliber service that it's a no brainer. Who are they going to refer like their friend or their family to? Because they're just like, well, Galen took care of me better than anyone's ever taken care of me on any other level, so I'm naturally going to use him. Then we talk about client appreciation party. That's a big one that Jared does, and we've all jumped on that. Pie drop-offs. Stay in front of your sphere.
The average amount of calls that it takes is 6 before you convert a lead most of the time. And I will tell you, as a new agent, almost no one does this. As an experienced agent, most don't do this because they get a lead, they call it, they don't get it on the phone, they leave a message. It's a good one though. It's a $500,000, $800,000 house. They're like, well, I'm gonna call it again. They call it again, nothing, no reply. And then typically they give up after that. And then you see them back on the website every day looking, and they're opening your emails, and you're like,
they're obviously alive.
But they haven't called me back, so they must not be interested. That's a lie. How many people call you and you don't call them back? Has your mom ever called you and then you didn't call her back? Do you not love your mom? Are you not going to ever talk to your mom again? Of course not, right? You probably got busy and forgot that she called you. What about a friend? What about an actual service? How many people call you to bug you about buying something? A car warranty, right?
You realtors will appreciate this. How many text messages or calls have you gotten where someone refers to the NAR and the health insurance?
Oh my God.
I mean, it's working, guys, because I get like 10 a day.
What you have to realize about internet leads is they don't need you until they need you.
So they need you.
And so you may be calling them thinking, I need them, but they may not need you yet. Their lease may not be up for another 6 months, 12 months. They may be fixing credit. They may not have 2 years of job. They may have already talked to a lender and the lender said, hey, look, you're going to need 2 years of job history and you're only at a year and a half, right? Don't call them 5 times only for another realtor to call them the 6th time, their first time, and close them.
Home run.
So follow up, follow up, follow up. That's our show. Like and subscribe to the channel, whether you're listening to it on your podcast preferred station, whether you're watching it on YouTube. Check out our other videos, comment, like, subscribe. Let us know what you want to hear about. I'm Jared Davis, Jared at centralvarealty.com, or
your realtor's favorite realtor, RVA, or Galen at centralvarealty.com.